excited in this 40th anniversary year to be doing some great plays. I'm doing two Shakespeares. I'm doing Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet, and then I'm doing a piece by Peter Griffith, the artistic director of the company, who has based this play. It's called The Tyrant's Kiss, and it's based on a play by Shakespeare called Pericles, Prince of Tyre. And it's very clever the way Peter's done this, because it's a loose adaptation. It's not, I mean, it doesn't follow the storyline exactly, but he's taken a lot of the characters from the original play. Pericles is now a character called Perry, who is a young Syrian man who is trying to cross the Mediterranean, which is exactly what Pericles does in the original Shakespeare play written in the 17th century. But extraordinary that it parallels, I mean, now, what's happening right this very moment of people trying to get away from nations which are in turmoil to come and live in Europe, and they attempt to cross the Mediterranean Sea in these, leaky boats and without much safety, and at the perils of everything really. So it's but certainly the perils of nature. Having to travel those seas, and so it's exciting because, as I say, it's a contemporary version, and I want to present it as a very physical piece, because there's some extraordinary scenes in it, like the scene where Perry crosses the Mediterranean, gets caught up in a storm, and basically the ship capsizes, the people are all thrown into the sea, he manages to swim to land, is rescued. There's another very extraordinary scene. I don't want to give away anything, but there's a scene where a character is literally put out to sea in a boat, like and just left to float in the ocean. So all these things have to be thought. How do we do this physically? How do we do this theatrically? So I'm very excited to work with a group of actors, working with some very simple props, some sticks, some ropes, some fabric, and see how we can create these sequences through physical theatre. So that's a real challenge. Honesty is a play that Peter has written for a very young age group. It's a story, a very simple story about two young children who witness a bag snatch in a supermarket. They see somebody's handbag is stolen, and they set off in chase of the thief, and who jumps on a train and goes to London. So we have this kind of fun sort of scenes where they're chasing him around London, and of course, there's a lot of London life is in the play. So it's quite a nice introduction to London for the kids, and very colourful. And we're doing this in the form of a storybook, so the pages sort of turn, and it's like a giant colouring book, and sort of everything springs out from it. So I think that should be very exciting. And then finally, Macbeth. This is in the first wave of next season, which I have directed quite a few times, and I've been in it quite a few times as well. I remember I first heard the story, I would have been about 11 years old, and the story was read to me by one of our teachers. I thought this was so exciting, these three witches and this kind of, warrior Macbeth who is prophesied he's going to become king, and then he has to achieve that, and how that all works out. Very exciting story. I then played Lady Macbeth in a school production, which was interesting. And then I've got on playing. I played Malcolm, the young son of the king. Anyway, I've been associated with it a few times. I directed it for Whitehorse 3 times, so this will be my 4th time. And I am excited because I think each time you come back, particularly to a text by Shakespeare, you find something new. That's what I think is so amazing about Shakespeare. You can come to it time after time after time, and you'll suddenly see something and you think, oh, it means that, does it? Oh, I thought it meant that. So, you know, you keep finding new ways of looking at it and discovering new things. We're going to do this in a very contemporary setting, very much the royal family. So we're going to do it in, the men will be in greatcoats on the battlefield, and in the scenes where in the palace, we're going to have, you know, they'll be in dinner jackets, the ladies in long evening dresses. So a little bit of a hark back to the 1930s. So quite a sophisticated look. But the most interesting thing for me is going to be the witches, who are going to be white witches. Because the whole play is going to be set in a snowy landscape and with silver birch trees, and the witches are going to come out of the snow and they're going to be white. So taking the curse off the black costumes, which are dark costumes, and just interesting to see how, well, I don't know, we'll see what that brings to the play. But again, I think quite an exciting concept, and I don't like that word concept, I don't know why I used it. But people do talk about a concept, it's an idea. And I like to have a little idea, I have a little picture, and as I say, the picture for me was the snow. I saw the snow, and of course what's so wonderful about white snow is that, and then I'm imagining just a little trace of blood in the snow, so that kind of idea of the sort of the blood red on the snow. It's a bit fairy tale-like as well, isn't it? And of course there's a forest in Macbeth as well, and there's a scene in it where, in order to disguise themselves, the army pull down branches from the trees and hold them in front of themselves, and so it looks like the forest is moving. So, yeah, great. Looking forward to that very much indeed, as I hope you are when you come and see it.